in the
You know what it
sports.
is. What in the sports? I am Charles Jones. Victor Wembanyama has officially gone from future star to present day problem for the rest of the league. In just his second full season, the Spurs' 7'4" phenom has surged into the face of the NBA conversation, carrying San Antonio back toward playoff relevance and putting up numbers we almost never see from a player his size. Roll the highlights. Wembanyama has turned San Antonio into must-see TV. Night after night, he's stuffing the stat sheet with points, rebounds, and blocks while stretching the floor like a guard. The Spurs, who were buried in the standings just a year ago, are now flirting with the playoff spot on the back of his development and a maturing young core around him. You can see the impact on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he draws double teams at the three-point line and in the post, creating open looks for his shooters. Defensively, his length changes everything at the rim. Teams think twice before attacking the paint when he's on the floor. The question now isn't whether Wembanyama is a star. It's whether he's already the face of the league. Let's get into it. Is Victor Wembanyama a legit lock for face of the NBA, or are we crowning him too early?
I don't know, Charles. I think he belongs in the MVP conversation right now. He's transforming a young team that wasn't even in the playoff picture into a real threat. And that's the definition of value. The numbers are one thing, but the way he warps defenses and anchors the paint on the other end is something only a handful of players in history have ever done.
I mean, I love his game. Wemby's incredible, no question. 7'4", skill like a guard, and already putting up wild numbers. But being the face of the league isn't about flash. It's about winning. The Spurs are still rebuilding, and until he's leading playoff runs and defining big moments, he's a generational prospect, not the league's premier presence. At least, not yet.
But so far in the 2025-26 season, Wemby is averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, and almost 3 assists per game, with strong shot blocking numbers as well.
Well, either way, what's clear is that Wembanyama is already one of the faces of the NBA, and if this is just the beginning, the rest of the league has a serious problem. From the headlines to the hash marks, James Pearce Jr. is back in the news, this time for all the wrong reasons. The former Tennessee standout, who was supposed to be the future of this franchise, was in court earlier this week, facing charges connected to an off-field incident. And now, the big question in Atlanta circles, did the Falcons give up too much to move up and get him? Let's rewind. The Falcons traded a massive draft package last year to snag Pearce Jr. early in the first round. 3 picks, including a future second, betting he'd be their next superstar pass rusher. And early on, it looked like a home run.
McCarthy wants to throw. Looking, and he's sacked! The big man, 2'7", is in the house.
Pearce ranked top 5 among rookies in sacks with 11.5, led the Falcons to their best defensive output in nearly a decade and nearly doubled the team's pressure rate compared to 2024. But fast forward to today, and suddenly the offseason vibes feel very different. With his court situation making headlines and no clear timeline for resolution, the Falcons' splash move looks a lot riskier. This is a defense that finished 11 in points allowed, but still missed the playoffs after a late fade that saw them give up over 30 points per game in their final 3 losses. So, here's the question. With everything going on, did Atlanta overpay for James Pearce Jr., or was the move still worth it for the kind of player he is?
You know, Charles, I'll defend the move. You don't pass on an elite edge talent when your defense's biggest issue is closing the games. Pearce changed that overnight. His speed off the edge, his bend, and his intensity. You can build around that. Every team in the NFC South would have made the same trade if they saw what Atlanta got on the field.
But here's the thing. When you trade away that much for future draft capital, you can't afford off-field turbulence. It's not about one season stats. It's about whether he's dependable long-term. If this court case lingers into training camp, Atlanta does not just lose a player. They lose the flexibility to fix holes elsewhere. That's how rosters stall out.
This is true, but you can't play scared. If this clears up and Pearce stays focused, he's still one of the most dominant young defenders in football. You can't teach that pressure rate or the motor.
Well, either way, this offseason just got a whole lot more interesting in Atlanta. The Falcons wanted a franchise-changing player. They got him. Now, they've got to hope their big gamble doesn't come with too high a cost. That's all the time we have. I'm Charles Jones. Thank you, Corin Rombach, for joining us. You know what it is. What in the sports?
What in the sports?